Good day everyone, this is Sam, and today we're gonna be looking at the basics of trading post flipping. The first thing first, I decided that I should probably look for a name for this series of videos I am about to make. And I have decided that the name of this series of video shall be How to Train Your Trading Post, because GW2 is a game about dragons. Dragons we do not have. As such, some of you might be interested in hugging the trading post, uncovering its darkest secrets. So, welcome to How to Train Your Trading Post. You will all hate me for the horrible humor later on. And I'm gonna start by explaining the basics behind the terms we're about to use, giving you some good website addresses, and telling you what I do, for example. So, for example, we could start talking about flipping. What does it do? It means you're gonna be buying one good, and you're gonna be selling it at a higher price. The goal of flipping is to generate a net profit each time you resell an item, and to work the mass of gold over the volume of everything you're about to sell. Flipping, as such, does seem pretty simple. If it's just buying and selling, anyone could do it. However, it's a bit more than that. Flipping actually requires you to do your homework. And by homework, I mean researching beforehand the items that are gonna have some value, the items that you can actually sell because they're gonna be profitable. You need to figure that out when you do it. It's gonna be quite hard. It's gonna require you to actually look past your habits in the game. I'm gonna give you some examples of research you could be doing. But first, let's go into some more stuff. So the first step is actually to go hugging your favorite trading post person, then you get your money back. Then you start thinking, what could I be flipping? It's generally items that are gonna be used in huge quantities. And there, we're coming to an important point, demand and supply. If a lot of people supply an item, but nobody demands it, it's never gonna sell. I mean, serious. Nobody's gonna ever want to buy it from you. Then there is no use trying to flip that. And, different possibility. There is a shit ton of demand, and there is very low supply. You're gonna try to buy the item to flip. Nobody's gonna sell it to you. Never. Because there is no supply. Let me try to find some example of these. A good example for something that would have a low supply would be some items that have been discontinued in the game. So let's take, for example, fused skins. Look, the prices are super high. You could be saying, let's take a look at that mace. Oh my god, I could buy it for 400 gold and sell it for 1.5k. Oh my god, the flip profit, man, the flip. There is one supply. Nobody's gonna ever sell it to you at 400. Nobody's gonna do it. Why? Because there's no supply. Nobody has. Nobody's gonna sell it. That's as simple as that. So now that you've been looking at this stuff and you're like, okay, so the basics would be try to find an item that has decent demand, decent supply, and then work my way out. Put buy orders, put sell orders. Well, that's the way to do it, pretty much. But then, how do you figure out what people want? I've been asking around, you know, because it's all about the research. Okay, so I've been actually asking around, and I've been playing with some people who do War vs World sometimes, and you know, they always gotta use some food, some potions, some stuff. Like they have their own specific stuff that's different from me, a dungeon runner, and my fellow dungeon runner friends. You know, we're all in a different world. And actually, if you ask them what kind of food they use, what kind of ingredients they use, that's actually some beginning of some like hints at what you could flip. Because most of the time what you're going to be flipping is what is used every day, and that's stuff for the Mystic Forge, equipment, food, crafting materials. That's what you can flip in your everyday flips. That's the small flips, the pocket money. And you're gonna be doing that every day. It's actually pretty simple. Once you have an idea, you ask them around, they're like, yeah, we're actually using this food, etc. It's very good. For example, what was actually pretty good at some point was the lemongrass. When lemongrass became super meta in Water World, like the lemongrass soup, I think, it was actually very profitable to flip lemongrass. And the same can actually happen in PvE. When the seaweed salad became very good in PvE, you could pretty much flip the seaweed and the sesame seed. It's like, you're gonna be creative, you're gonna ask people around, you gotta know what's the big thing right now, and you want to flip that. Then there may be competition, but we'll go to that a bit later on. So you want to flip that. Also, ideas may or may not include, let me open Firefox, music. You can look at stuff like crafting guides. You know, that's the crafting guides most people use actually. You can look at normal guide, cooking, no hearts. People are always key farming, so they're gonna be buying the stuff for cheap and trying to level up their character fast. So for example, you see there potatoes, sticks of butter, onions, eggs, mushroom, beets, etc. Those are all crafting materials that you could be flipping. Then again, I'm not saying you should be doing it. I think a lot of people are actually working on them at the moment, but you can still try to flip some of them. There's profit to be made. I don't know. Let's go randomly on one of them and see if there is profit. Sage leaves. I'm actually legit curious because I haven't done that for a few days. So sage leaf. Nah, there is no profit on that one, sadly. But there is some profit on, for example, the vanilla, the black peppercorn. The black peppercorn, there's some good profit. And the sticks of butter there is as well. And then there is also the mixed stuff. I've flipped actually they're not here, but I flipped the piles of salt and pepper. Yeah, it actually worked quite well, made a bit of coin on that. But yeah, be creative. Look at what's available to you. When in doubt, always go to typical.com. Typical.com. It's like, you don't want to do your math, you don't want to do your homework, Typical would do it for you. For example, let's say I'm gonna flip I don't know. Let's look at another crafting material, maybe greenwood log. Greenwood log. 52, 65. Actually 52, yeah, I would put my builder at, I would probably even put my builder a bit lower because these two are gonna fill within the day. I would probably go for 49, but let's say 50. And I'm gonna sell at 66. So let's go for 49, 60 copper. Let's assume I would sell at 66. There's a profit of 7 copper. Now, how many wood logs can I sell? That's a good question. I mean, people are flipping maybe 5k of them daily. That's only 3.55 gold. But that's also just an investment of 24 gold. What you're looking at right now is, on a single flip, a profit of, well, 15% or so. It's actually quite good already, because normally when you flip, you're always looking at 10% profit, something along those lines. You're never gonna get a huge flipping profit. If you do, then that means that either you've been very lucky and someone actually sold to you and someone actually bought from you, or the item is the next big thing and you don't know about it. So, now that we have covered the basics, there are actually a few questions that have been asked to me when I was flipping, when I was showing stuff on my stream, etc. Like, one of the most recurring question was, but Sam, what the fuck do I do when there is competition? Like, what am I supposed to do? I mean, someone just overbid me. Overbidding is when you put your buy order and someone overbids over you. He is buying higher than you, if you prefer. and they've been like, Sam, what the fuck do I do when I've been overbid? What the fuck am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to like cancel and release the boulder guy even though it's gonna butcher my profits? What am I supposed to do? And then I'm just gonna be like, okay, just look at the amount the guy is buying. If the guy is buying like maybe half of what you have ordered, if you've ordered a small quantity, it's alright. Also, if you're familiar with the item you're flipping, you pretty much know how many of them you can flip a day. I'm gonna come to that later. That means you know if his buy order is gonna fill or not, how much time you have to wait, and if you're alright with waiting or not, like the time value of money, pretty much. And then, the most dreaded question is, Sam, what the fuck do I do when I've been undercut? Undercutting is when you have been setting up your sell order, like you've already got your item and you're like selling it now. You put your sell order and you're like, okay, now I just wait for the profit. And then some random fucktard, he comes in, he's like, ooh, I'm gonna undercut this guy by at least a gold. And you just hate these people, you know, you're like, man, you're fucking up the market and you're fucking me up, what the hell? But there are solutions. Either you do not care about the gold. That's my case. And I'm just gonna leave my item here and not really care. Just maybe one day to sell, maybe not. And if I have at some point to just recoup the listing and whatever, I will do it. Or option 2, you can redo your math. Like you redo your math, you come back, do that. And you're like, So, I was selling, maybe I sold half of them. There is like 2.5k left to sell. And you're like, okay, so 2.5k left to sell. The guy is at 65. So you're just gonna go for 64. And you have 2.5k left to sell. They're like, okay, that's good. But then you realize the sale fee is higher than your profit. And you're like, well, that's just items you're gonna abandon. It's just items you're gonna abandon. If you are undercut by like, I don't know, 10k, you're not gonna sell them quick. So just undercut and that's it. But in this kind of case, there are solutions. Like you can still transform what you have into something else. And I'm gonna come to that in one of my crafting videos later on. But being undercut is not necessarily the end. Now we're gonna come to another question to ask often. How the hell do I know how many items I can flip a day? I mean, who the fuck knows that? My answer is gonna be pretty simple. You see that there is flipping potential, the spread between the buy order and sell order. Then you're like, I'm gonna flip that because the demand and supply seem alright. It's quite balanced. I'm gonna go for that one. And then the next question, you're like, time to see how many I can flip. You try with 1, it worked. Try with 10, it works. Try with 100, it works. Now, think of it. Is the item used in huge quantities? Yes, no, maybe. Yes, go higher. Try 1,000, 10,000. Is the item not used in huge quantities? Then, no, not really. No, give it up. But yeah, just work your way up. Try to flip a bit more every time. And when you feel that this is the limit, that the items are not coming to you anymore, the items are not selling anymore, stop, write down the number, and every day you flip that item. The number of times you work. And by keeping on flipping different items every day, diversifying your portfolio, that's how you're gonna work your way up to a lot of gold. Pretty much. Then, the other points that can be interesting for you is when you've gotten all your gold, is gonna be to invest it and stuff. But that's a question for another day. That's a question for another day. Also, one thing you should check often is actually GW2 Spidey. You should go often on that website because you can always check the items, what are the price, etc. And also, I'm gonna tell you something. A flip is not necessarily over a day. A flip is it's not necessarily over a week. It can be a monthly flip or something. Like for example, let's take a look at the price of the ancient bones over the month of April. Let's look at a monthly flip or weekly flip. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, there, low by order, 29 silver. We probably got a bit of them. Yeah, 28 silver here. Let's go for 28 silver. And the highest by order we got, the highest silver we got later on was 35 silver. Okay, 28, 35. Let's reset this. 20. It's actually 27, 89, and 25, 40. 2 silver profit. That's, I mind you, that's over 2 weeks, 10 days. Actually, let's say you bought a stack, 5 gold. Nah, that's not much, and you don't have the 10% profit. But let's say you bought 1k and you're just gonna sell them every now and then. It's not the 10% profit, but it's profit you're gonna make. It's 6.2%. It's alright. It's actually alright. It's ideas, you know. A flip doesn't have to be over a week, a day, or anything. It's something you can feel your way in. And this is not an investment because you're not gonna keep this for months. You're gonna sell it at some point. So it's not an investment. I'm gonna come to investment, speculation, etc. in another video. But I will have you guys know that it always has to do with blog posts, developer live streams, and people get immensely rich on this. You guys have no idea. For me, next big thing is going to be runes and sigils, but I will tell you more about that. But yeah, that's actually pretty simple. That's how you work your way through flipping. So let's just get back to the main points. Look at the spread. Demand and supply. How many can I flip a day? What can I do when I'm undercut or overbid? What can I do if it doesn't sell? Does it really have to sell instantly? These were the 6 questions, I answered them. So that's it for you guys. Now you have a more clear idea of how you can manage your stuff. And then one day, we become rich as well. And it's gonna be cool. I'm not that rich, but I have money. So yeah, it's cool. I hope you guys actually did enjoy this video. And if you have any question, make sure to ask them in the comments. There is no problem, I'll try to answer as much as I can. I'm also gonna post this on Reddit. And if you guys have any question, you can also ask it on Reddit and I will answer it. I swear. I will. No problem. But yeah, that's it. That was a pretty simple overview, and I won't tell you everything that I flip, but I do flip quite a bit of stuff. And well, my problem is that right now my bank is full, so I'm forced to put stuff on my characters. So yeah, one of the good things you want to start doing when you start going into business, make your own guild bank. I'm gonna explain in a miscellaneous video how you can do all this stuff, but yeah, you might want to have some storage space, because if you buy 50 stacks or something, you're not gonna keep it on the character you run. I don't know, dungeons, fractals versus word with, it doesn't work this way. But yeah, there's a pretty good chunk of stuff you can do. Don't hesitate if you got any questions. I hope I would be able to help you all. And well, yeah, there are always some good options. I will tell you more about that.
It's all about sacrifice. It's all about you. It's all about you. Ain't nothing about me.